What's up, everybody? Welcome to Immediate Immersion Live. Today we're talking about our life-work balance. I know so many of us do not have that. It took me a while to be able to get that in my life, but it's such an important thing that we have a balance between our life and our work, our school. And unlike many other jobs, school pulls from us not only during the hours that we work, but there are hours that we need to plan, there are hours that we need to grade. Then they want us to attend school activities like plays and sports activities. There are meetings. It's more than any other job. Other jobs, you punch in, you punch out, you go home, and you're done. But not here. I know I get pulled in, it's between students and other people say, come to my sporting event, come to my play, come to my dance. All these types of things, they pull us in, and we just don't have that work-life balance. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. My name is Scott, and you're watching Immediate Immersion Live, where we're all about comprehension-based instruction in the modern language classroom. And we'll be right back. And welcome back. If you don't have a work balance, a life-work balance in your life, go ahead and put a 1 in the comments. And if you think you do, you have a nice balance between your school life and your work life, go ahead and put a 2 in the comments so we can see where everybody's standing. The first thing I want to talk about today is classroom efficiency. That's one of the things that I really excel at, that I keep everything going at a very fast pace so that, and I make everything very efficient. So I'm not wasting any of my time. One of the things I do is I leverage technology whenever possible. So between my school's learning management system, I have a to-do app. There are 2 to-do apps that I use. If you just need a simple to-do app, just something that tells you, you have a list of things to do. You can have it split between work and home. You can set up due dates. I would recommend TickTick. Let me put that in the comments here so we can see it here. TickTick.com. That's the one that I use for my basic to-do list. You can also do Microsoft To Do is also another good one. That one's free. TickTick has a free version. I paid for it. I can't remember. It's like $25 a year or something like that to get the extra features. But that's the one that I highly recommend. I've used Microsoft To Do. It's good, but I think TickTick is better. Another one people use is Todoist. I haven't used that one in probably over a decade, so I don't have any comments about that one, but that's another common one that people use. But you need a to-do app. My other one, which is much more sophisticated, and I don't recommend it unless you need something more sophisticated, I use something called Smart Suite, but that lets me plan a lot of things. It's more of a project management tool that has to-do aspects to it. I don't recommend that for most people. But TickTick is what I recommend for most people, or Microsoft To Do if you need a free one. Google Tasks is really too simple to be able to really be effective, but that's another alternative as well. But you have to use technology to manage everything, to make everything easier for you. You don't want, I used to use, and I still kind of use it for some here. Oh, you can't see it because it's, here, let me get these ones. Here they are. Sticky notes. So I used to use these a lot, but then I found what the problem was is they lose their stickiness. I keep them on my desk, and kids would mess around, and then they would get lost, or they would drop on the floor, and the custodian would throw them away. So I didn't find, although they're great for quick little notes and such, I didn't find them to be that useful because they were, oh, I know I left that sticky note at school, or I have a sticky note at home that could be useful. And so that really didn't work well for me. What I would use instead is Google Keep. Let me put that one in here for you. And Google Keep is a free web app, part of the Google Suite. If you have a Gmail account, you already have it. You can get one for free if you need it. Let me go and just do a quick screen share of one. Those are my notes here. Let's go here and open up a new window. And I'll show you, actually before I do that, let me make sure I get to the right one before I show it. I don't want to show my personal one because I got a lot of personal information in there. Actually, I can show it this one. Okay, let me go ahead and just share screen. So Google Keep is something like this, and it's pretty much an online sticky note thing that you can see. So I keep little notes in here about different things. You can put pictures, you can do that. You can color code them. So like if I want to keep a note, I can just take a note, put it as a test note. I can put a notification on it. I can attach people to it. I can make it a different color. I can put a background on it if I want. I can make it a checklist. Like my Christmas list is always a checklist. I keep the same one every year, and I check them off as I go, and then I uncheck them, clear the check boxes, and it's all ready for the next year. So that works out really, really well. You can add images. There's lots of things that you can do with it. You can pin it up here so it stays near the top, and you can search through it. So it's kind of like a digital sticky note, and it's great for short little notes and clips. And what I like, as I said about it, because I can access it anywhere. I can access it on my phone. You can get the app or just use the web app. For Android, they do have a widget that you can put on your screen. I can access it on any web browser that I need to. So I really enjoy this one, and it's great to just jot down really, really quick things. Like, I saw some Bloom's taxonomy images I liked. So I clipped those and put them in here, and I have them so if I ever need them later or give me some ideas. I've got all different kinds of things in here. Oh, for my class, I have all these links in here for my students to use Flip. So each class has their own link, and I keep it right here so I can copy and paste really, really easily. So this is a great little app that I like to keep myself organized and keep myself efficient. The other thing I do other than using technology in my classroom, I use every minute possible to not waste. So for example, I could be, let's say I get to school about an hour and a half before school starts, and I leave on time. So we're allowed to leave 20 minutes after the final bell rings, and that's when I leave unless I have a meeting. I don't stay after because I want that life-home balance, that work-life balance. But I come in an hour and a half. I do come in morning because I'm more productive in the morning, number one. My family is still sleeping, so it's not really I'm losing time with them at that time. And there's little distractions at school before school. After school, there's a lot more distractions because kids hang around, other teachers are around. You get a lot more distractions. But in the morning, I don't get very many distractions. There are no students. Our students can't show up on campus before 20 minutes before the bell rings. So they're not even on campus at that time. They're locked out. And teachers usually are so frantic getting ready for the day, they are not out to socialize or come and bother you for anything. So I can really get my stuff done. When I get to school at that hour and a half mark, I don't dilly dally. I go get my mail right away. I come right back to my room and I get started on what I need to do. What do I need to do? I don't waste my time thinking about it because it's on my to-do list, because I write everything down on my to-do list and I just check what's on my to-do list for today and I start working on that. So it's really, really important. During quizzes, when kids are taking quizzes, I am monitoring what they're doing, but at the same time, I'm doing something else to maximize my time. For example, I might be grading the previous period's quizzes, and I'm glancing up and looking around to make sure everything is going the way it's supposed to while I'm doing that. Instead of just twiddling my thumbs, looking at my kids or walking around the room, I make efficient use of time. During quick writes, when my students are writing, I am reading the previous class's quick writes and logging their minutes in the grade book. So I'm not just sitting there twiddling my thumbs for 7-8 minutes while they're writing. I'm actually using all of those minutes. I don't waste any time. Now, I don't work during my lunchtime. That is one thing I do not work. I do take my lunch for lunch because you need to have that reset time. But every other minute I'm at school, I'm working. I use my prep period to its max. I use every minute. Again, what am I doing on my prep period? I look at my to-do list. Without a clear to-do list, it's hard to know what to do. And then you have this indecision. You're thinking, what do I have to do? What's on my list? What things do I have to get do? And then you forget, or you put something that's less important first. So having effective to-do list really, really helps. Oh, and I forgot to even mention a calendar. I use a calendar as well, so I know where I need to be, when I need to be there. And I use Google Calendar very, very efficiently. I set it up in the defaults to let me know 1 week before something happens, 24 hours before something happens, and 15 minutes before something happens. So it emails me automatically at those 3 times. I teach my kids the same thing so that they know how to use this calendar, and then they're getting notifications to know where they've got to be and what they've got to do. So I use a Google Calendar to keep my time very well. Otherwise, I would know what meetings I have, where do I need to be, what do I've got going on this afternoon, what do I have going on tomorrow. That keeps me honest along the way. And Google Classroom. Google Calendar is the best calendar that I have found, and the best thing about it is it's absolutely free. And if you have a Gmail account, it's extremely smart, because if something comes into my inbox that has a time and a date on it, Google automatically puts it in my calendar. So if I pre-buy tickets for something like a sporting event or a play or a movie, and it shows up in my inbox, guess what? There's a time and a date, and Google puts it in my calendar right away. If I have an appointment that gets a confirmation in my email, Google puts it in my calendar. Flight itineraries, guess what? They come in my inbox, they get put in my calendar. Even if someone else shares their itinerary with me, their itinerary goes in my Google Calendar if I have to pick them up or something like that. So again, using tech really, really helps. So classroom efficiency, don't waste your time. Use every moment possible, because if you don't use it when it's available, you're going to have to take it from your home life time, your after school time, and you don't want to do that. So use all the time that you're at school as efficiently as possible, and then leverage tech to help keep you on track, help you remember things, and keep you honest. That really segues us right into time management, which we'll go into right next. So this goes back to using that to-do list. Make sure you prioritize what you're doing. So I like, if it takes less than 5 minutes to do, I just do it. I'll still put it on my to-do list, but I'll just get it done and check it off. There's something satisfying about checking it off the list. If it takes more than that time, then I need to figure out two things. How important is it? And when do I have time to get it done? So I'll give it a priority flag or some kind of notification for me of how important it is to get done. And then I'm going to schedule it to be done. So on my to-do list, I'm going to put a date and a time on it so I know that's when I'm going to be honest and I'm going to get that done. And I want to make sure that it's actually achievable. And so, again, if it's under 5 minutes, get it done right now. If it's longer than 5 minutes, prioritize it and schedule it for a specific date and time in your to-do list so you know when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it. This effective scheduling, using that Google Calendar and your to-do list in conjunction with each other, helps you keep that life-work balance, because I keep both on my schedule. So I import, you subscribe in Google Calendar to my school calendar, the one that the school makes for me and adds meetings to me. I subscribe to that in my personal calendar so it all shows up. Then I add things in my personal calendar. So I have both things and I can manage my time better. So I know if I can do this, if I can go out on TGIF with my friends on Friday, because I know if I already have a meeting or something else that I have to do with school scheduled. So it keeps me really honest that way. So I can balance between my life and my work. Time management also. Someone once told to me, if it's not, a college degree is not required to do it, then delegate it to your students. So I have classroom jobs, and this goes along with kind of classroom efficiency and time management. I have these classroom jobs, and I have them, anything that a student can do because they don't need a college education to do it, I assign that to a student to do. So I have a personal TA. We don't have TAs, teaching assistants, at our school. But in each class, I have a kid who volunteers to be that for a month. And what do? They're going to run errands for me. They're going to make copies for me. They can't make copies in the teacher room, but in the librarian will show them how to make copies, and then they can make copies for me. So I will send them down to make the copies. So I'm not wasting time in the copy room making copies, waiting in a line with everybody else making copies, which does not require a college degree to do. Putting my chairs away at the end of the school day, putting them back out in the beginning of the school day, writing up the agenda on the board, changing the date on the board, changing the target for the day. All of that stuff I assign to students to do for their monthly jobs so that I can use my time better spent. That's what you want to do as much as possible. So that's delegating those responsibilities along the way. Next, let's go ahead and talk about wellness practices. So there's lots of different ways that you need to be both mentally and physically well to be able to be your best at home and to be your best at school. And so there's lots of different things that you can do. One of the things that our principal does for us is he committed, I think it was last year was the first year he committed to it, that he brings in a parent who's a yoga instructor once a month after school to do yoga in the gym with all of the teachers who want to participate. So you need to find something that is physical and mind balancing. So you can do mindfulness. Our counselors are really good at doing mindful minutes, and they'll actually come into your classroom and lead that with your classroom over a period of a couple of weeks to kind of train them on how to do it and train you on how to do it so that you can then continue leading your classroom in mindful minutes. I don't do it all the time, but when I see that either I'm high stress or my energy level is way too high, or my students are stressed or their energy level is way too high, then I may take a pause and we'll do a mindful minute activity for a moment. You can do some meditation. Just sit quiet and think. Sometimes put some low music on, and you can do that with your kids as well. Have them just quietly think about what they're doing and be in the moment at that time. Um, Finding ways to incorporate, these mental moments, these mindfulness moments, these meditation moments, these relaxation, if you don't want to go into that, mindfulness or meditation, just relaxation moments where you're not doing anything, you're just relaxing every muscle of your body, to maybe some light music. You want to incorporate this regularly into your routine, at least a few times a week, if not every day. Get into the habit of doing that. You also need physical activity. So, lots of us do, sometimes at lunch, we have like walking groups that we do. And then we have a path, a wooded path around our school that some of us will go and take a walk during lunch, or we'll walk around the blacktop or something like that in our lunch area as a group, just to get out of the classroom, get away from kids, and just get some exercise in. Um, Many of us join gyms. If you can do that, our school offers discounts to certain gyms with our health plans. Um, I have a treadmill and I always forget elliptical. I always forget that word. Elliptical in my office, so that I can get up there and I treat myself to YouTube videos while I'm on the treadmill or I'm on the elliptical. I have them on my iPad. I put them up on the little shelf that's up there, and then I can watch those while I'm either walking or jogging or I'm on the elliptical, so that it keeps my physical body in place. And I'll tell you, you may not realize, before I started an exercise routine, I was having trouble not falling asleep. I could fall asleep, but I would wake up somewhere between 2 and 3 in the morning. And then once I'm up, I couldn't go back to sleep. Well, incorporating a half an hour of physical activity, getting my heart rate up, solved that problem. It takes care of a lot of the stress. It helps you sleep better. You're obviously getting better physical attributes in there. And it helps you have that work-life balance, because your mental and your physical are in balance with each other. And then you can help get rid of the stress that way. If I feel really stressful, then I work really, really hard. Maybe run a little faster, or go a little faster on that elliptical to burn that stress off. And then I can use some calming time afterwards. So it's really, really important to do that, to take time for self-care. So on your days off, don't do schoolwork. I was guilty of this. When I first started teaching, I would have a bag of stuff that I would take home, and I actually spent the first few hours on a Saturday working on it. And then as I got more into my teaching career, I would bring the bag home, but I wouldn't open the bag, and I would just bring the bag back to school the exact same way it came. So then I started thinking, why am I even dragging it home? And why am I doing schoolwork at home anyways? I want a healthy balance between my work life and my home life. And I can't do that if I mingle my work life into my home life. This was really difficult during the pandemic, because we were teaching from home. I was teaching in my home office. And so my home is right where I was. So it was really, really difficult. I had to put time constraints, just like I would be at school. I came in an hour and a half into my office to work before school started. And 20 minutes after the bell rang, I stopped schoolwork. I stopped. I used all my time efficiently while there to keep it as much separated as possible. So when you have your days off, don't do schoolwork. Don't think about schoolwork. I get my lesson plans done on Thursday and Friday of the week before. So when I leave school on Friday, my lesson plans are already set for the whole next week. So I don't have to worry about them over the weekend about what am I going to do on Monday, or have to come into school on Tuesday or Wednesday or third thing. What am I doing in class today? It's already been done, already planned, already ready, already in my learning management system. Everything is complete. So that when I have my days off on my weekends or holidays or breaks, I don't have to think about school. I can just focus on being at home with my family and doing family type things. And then you also need to have hobbies. You need to have some kind of activity that you enjoy, that brings joy to your life. I've got all this white stuff all over my shirt here and I can't get it off. It's driving me crazy. I see it in the screen. You need to have something an activity that you enjoy doing, that you can be maybe by yourself or with others, but maybe a little separate from your family because you need that time away from them as well, but something that fulfills you. I enjoy going to the movies, so I go to the movies pretty much every weekend without fail, unless there's just no movies out. But I try to go to the movies. It's a couple of hours that I get to be in my little zone. I also enjoy photography, so sometimes I'll go walk the city and take pictures, or I like to go to zoos and take pictures. And again, it's time by myself where I can contemplate what's going on and I am enjoying what I'm doing. So finding hobbies that you like to do really, really help keeping you in that wellness zone, that mental and physical healthiness. Next, let's talk about support networks. We all need a support network. So you need to build connections with other people. And that's not just in your work life, but your life as well. So with your friends, you need to be doing things with your friends on a regular basis. My friends, we schedule a TGIF nearly every Friday. After school, we go to a restaurant. We have dinner together, we talk and we socialize for maybe 2 or 3 hours. That brings down our stress and that gives me a support network. We happen to be teachers and we don't always talk about teacher stuff, but sometimes we can bounce things off because sometimes the only other people who understand what you're going through is another teacher. Your spouse or your partner may not understand exactly what you're going through because they're not a teacher and what is actually entailed to do. Building connections with other educators to get support. There are, many of us are part of Facebook groups that are geared towards the languages we teach or how we teach languages. These are awesome to help you to connect with other people, other like-minded people, so that you can bounce ideas off of. You can, if you're having an issue, maybe you can get, problem solved together. I know when I started, it was my lifeline was the More TPRS Yahoo group list back in the early 2000s when I started teaching. Then Yahoo group lists went away. They closed them down. And then we moved over to Facebook, and now we have a Facebook group that does the similar thing. You read that, you get information, you get ideas, you bounce off people. You need this professional connection with like-minded people so that you have a place to grow and a place to get feedback and a place to get suggestions and problem solving. You may have a local PLC, a professional learning community. We have this every Wednesday at my school where the departments get together and then we focus on what we have to get done as a department. We look at data together. We help support each other. We look at our instruction, all of those kinds of things. It's another support network. We can no longer live on an island, whether it's at home or at school. We need support of our peers to be as successful as we can be. So search for that support network, whatever it may be, whoever it might be for you. It may just be one single person, your best friend, but find a support network that you have so that you have the support that you need to be as successful as you can. Another thing is consider being a mentor to someone else, whether it be in the educational field, you have more experience, they have less experience, or it could be in the personal field to help someone. But helping someone in that way, again, builds a network. And you might also benefit from that relationship as well, because sometimes fresh ideas come from these younger minds and you never thought about something that way. So think about that of being that mentor to a mentee and then build a support network in that way. You are their support network for them, but at the same time, they can also breathe some new ideas in you as well. And lastly, I would like to talk about professional growth. We always talk to our students about being lifelong learners, that it's so important that once school is over, you have to still continue to learn. And I do this both on my professional means and my life means. So I don't know about you, but I am very curious. So if I am watching something on TV or I'm reading something, an article, or I'm seeing something on the news, or I'm reading a news article, and something interests me, I'll stop for the moment and I'll look it up to get more information. A classic example was many years ago, I was watching a TV episode and they talked about a plant that didn't need soil or water to survive. And I'm like, how is that possible? I didn't know if that was a made up thing for the TV show or if it was real. So I stopped and I looked it up, and there's a real plant that lives on crevices of mountains that doesn't require soil or water. It gets the moisture it needs from the air, and it gets its nutrients that it needs, and it survives. But I would never have known that if I didn't look it up, if I let that moment pass. My kids say I know a lot about a lot. I don't really know a lot about a lot. I know a little bit about a lot of things because when anything piques my interest, I look it up. I want to find out a little bit more information. I don't go hog wild and spend hours into a rabbit hole, but I will look it up and figure and read about it, learn what I can about it, just a few minutes, and it gives it into my brain and it helps me have personal growth. I'm near the end of my career. I've only gotten 2 years left, and I am going to retire, if not sooner. I may retire sooner if I can. But I'm still learning about my craft. I read books about things that I can do to better how I teach. I participate in classes and webinars and workshops, and I go to conferences to help better my craft along the way, because it's important to be a lifelong learner. If you stop learning, you become stagnant, and then you become less important. And I don't mean important like I'm so important, but you become less relevant. You're not up to date, and you're not practicing your craft to the best of your abilities. Part also on that is constant reflection. That's another skill that we teach our students, is to reflect upon their learning. And we want to reflect upon not only our personal growth, but our professional growth and our practices, so that we can have this cycle of what did we do? Let's review how it went, and let's improve it for the next time. make changes if we need to. But you can't figure any of that out unless you are reflecting on it, taking time to think about it. So that is really important as well, to reflect not only again on your professional life, but also on your home life. And journaling may be the best way to do that, whether you do it on a digital or you do it on pen and paper, or whether you do the old-fashioned journal where you're actually writing text out, or you do a bullet type journal. Whatever works for you, journaling can help you with that as well. Again, something else that our principal has implemented with us, he gave all of us a notebook, a more fancy with a hardcover kind of a notebook, one that you keep. And then he gives us topics once or twice a month to reflect upon in that book. So we have something to think about that we're reflecting about. That's kind of important. The whole point of all of this is to balance your passion for teaching along with your personal interests in your personal life, so that you have that balance, that one is not overrunning the other. Because if one is in more power than the other, then something else is lacking and you're not the best that you can be. And you're not even let's say if your professional is overrunning your personal, that doesn't mean your professional's better. It could mean that you're getting burnt out faster at your professional. So you need that balance so that you're no longer burnt out, but you're not bored either. But you need to have this great balance between your work life and your home life so that you can be present at each of those places for your students, for your coworkers, and then for your family and friends, so that you can be the best that you can be. So there we have it. That's talking about our balance. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. It helps us so much. We are so close to getting to our 1,000. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So share this video with anybody that you can. Right now, we are having some great Black Friday specials. If you're interested, we have things, all of our content is up. Let me go ahead and put it in the chat here. All of our products, all of our webinars, all of our courses, all of our comprehended conference are on sale up to 50%. And if you are on our email list, we're giving out daily special sales that apply only for that calendar day, that you can only get from our email list, that are above and beyond what we're offering to the public on our Black Friday sales. So if you're interested in anything, you need to pick up some curriculum, you need some extra professional training, whether our courses or our webinars, or join our webinar club, which is unlimited webinars. We've got some great deals on that as well. Or our comprehended conference, which is coming up very shortly. All of those things are on sale right now. And again, if you're on our email list, you will get some additional special notices. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. I wish everybody have a great Thanksgiving with your family. That's one of those downtime moments, as we're talking about. It's really important to have. Next week, same time, same channel, we are going to be talking about, as I look it up here on my list, providing feedback without fear. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week, kind of going along with some assessment. So with all of that, I wish everybody a great holiday, especially if you're in the United States celebrating Thanksgiving. That's in a few days. Enjoy your time with your family and friends, and I'll see you next week. Have a great one, everybody.